Okay, I think it shows we're live now. Do you have it up as well?
I do.
Okay, perfect. So I'm muted. All right. Okay, let's see. All right, it's a 20-second delay, so we'll just see there. Oh, perfect. I can actually see you on that. That's going to be confusing seeing with the delay.
I know I have a little window up at the top with the actual thing, so that's where I'm looking.
I know, like, what are we doing here? Okay, let's see.
It reminds me to look at the camera too, instead of looking like I have a habit of looking around.
That's funny. All right. So we'll just wait a little bit for some to join, and then we'll just go ahead and get started.
Oh yeah, there's a huge delay. Holy crap.
Yeah, I think it's like 20 seconds or something like that. So, okay. All right. I'm so glad that you're able to join.
Oh yeah.
With Tina being out, so sick. So, all right. I guess we can just go ahead and get started, and then, yeah. So thank you again so much for being on. I hope Tina's at home feeling better and not vomiting right now. That's not a good thing. There's stuff going around. Trust me. It's there's something to be said for these virtual, not like in a room full of other people where you can just do things this way. So again, thanks for joining. The biggest thing I was excited to have you join. I always like watching you as a medium and as a healer. You just recently did some work at my I don't know, it's funny because you weren't at her house, but you did you did like a clearing in my for my mom and her house, and she hasn't had any issues since. It's like she had some things going on and you went ahead and ghostbustered it. So that was, so that's awesome. So thank you for doing that. And but you're just I'm just in awe. Like we've been kind of doing meetups here and there with our mediumship. So I feel like over time we've sort of evolved together, and to see, I know at the beginning we used to do circles and whatnot, and just to see you do a lot of Facebook lives, and it's amazing to watch you. I'm in awe of you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, seriously, like it's almost like it's a sense of it's weird because it's almost like a sense of pride, because to see the circles that we sat in, and the way that it's a process of connecting, and to see where you're at now, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I knew him when, so yeah, so I just wanted you to talk a little bit about your backstory. I know some people that are going to be watching this probably know a little bit about it, but
sure.
Just kind of go into some detail in terms of your history there. I think it's fascinating. There's not a lot of the masculine energy, if you will, that are doing this work, and so I always appreciate that. And so if you can kind of tell us a little bit about what that looks like for you.
Sure. And I'll keep it short because it is a story that could drag out, but yeah. I'll start by one, seeing where I am right now, I would have never, I never saw this coming. This is something that was so far out of my purview, 5 years ago, that it was nothing there. But yeah, I guess, we do have a path, whether we're aware of it or not. And I definitely was not, but, there was a 20-year period with our family that things were just, chaotic. When my mother remarried, over 30 years ago, my two stepbrothers had cystic fibrosis, so that in itself was, it was a struggle for them. But, my brother Jason passed in 97. He was on the transplant list, but became too ill to accept. He wouldn't have survived the surgery. So he passed in 97. And that was actually after because I was in the military for 20 years, and he passed. It was shortly after I returned from a deployment that he passed. And then 99, or I think it was 2009. I'm sorry, back that up. My other brother Danny went through a double lung transplant 2 days after the bombings in New York. We're from New York. So 2 days after the bombing, he had a call from New York hospital to come down, had his lung transplant. So that was 2001. Shortly after that, see, the timelines, I was actually diagnosed with kidney disease right before his transplants. I forget, the
Wow,
timelines are
that's a
so crazy.
lot. It would be,
Yeah,
I could
there
see
was a
where it's a
lot.
little bit of a blur with some of that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So, after Jason passed, that's when I was diagnosed with kidney disease, which, it was caught late. It pretty much told me from the start, this is gonna, there's a good chance it's gonna go to failure at some
Mhm.
point. So, good news there. And then my brother had his transplant, did well with it for about 3 years. Then his lungs rejected. He was actually fortunate enough to get another chance. And I believe that was 2009, somewhere in there. No, it was actually before I retired from the military. So he had his. I retired from the Air Force in 2009. A year later, my kidneys failed, so I start dialysis. I go, looking for a kidney. Fortunately, I was only on dialysis 6 months. One of my friends that was in the Air Force with me was actually my donor. After some things fell through for my family, which, the chances, it was such a good match. It's like one of those things. It was kind of
Right.
like this was meant to be for some reason.
Mhm.
So I went through that, and then shortly after that, my brother Danny ended up with kidney failure. So he had to start dialysis, and then eventually he ended up getting lymphoma cancer in his lungs, and he ended up passing away. So,
Wow.
all those events, but we're really happy. What really kicked it off, I think, was in 2015. My sister was murdered. Um,
Yeah.
that was tough because, and I know we've talked, and I know some people know my story, but long story, we never met in life. She was born to my dad's second marriage, so there was missed opportunities every time I would go home on leave. It just didn't happen, and it was actually the time, probably 2 years before her death. I was home. We were all supposed to meet up. Something happened where she couldn't make it. So then that happens, and that just left me with feelings of, I didn't know how to feel. It's like, yes, she's my sister. I didn't know her. How am I supposed to feel about this?
Right.
So it was an odd time. Um, but her murder was unsolved for almost 5 months. And about 2 months into it, I found Channeling Eric. I was working out, and I found this channel. I was like, what is this? And then I found the website, the web page, and I actually found that they worked on some cases. So I reached out, and Linda Hack, Jan Baki, they actually,
Mhm.
we didn't know each other at that point, but they started helping me with her case.
Yeah, and so just so I want to just so people know what channeling Eric is, if they're not already familiar, because you and I were both connected through that as well. And
Yep.
so for the background, anyone, basically Eric was had committed suicide early when he was young, and his mom had kind of created a channeling Eric. And anyone, it's crazy because it's almost like he finds you and
Yeah.
and when I the same thing, he pushed me, and it was the weirdest thing because it was when you start to really open up, it's like he I don't know, there's something about, it's almost like when he crossed over, he wanted to continue to help people in his own way and build out, and he just would find mediums and like mess with them. And I have so many, I know we both have many experiences with him, but it's just kind of interesting. So if anyone wants to check that out, that's what that is. She has a channel on YouTube, and she also has a website as well. So go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, so at that point I was not a medium. At least I didn't know I was. Um, but it was a couple months after her passing that I was getting up for work one morning, and I was in the kitchen. It's 5:30 in the morning, and I'm just going about my business. And literally out of nowhere, it felt like somebody was standing behind me, and I knew it was just me and my wife. My daughter had left the house. She was in college at that point, I believe. So it was just us two, and I knew she didn't get up. So it literally made me look around. Nobody was there, but I just felt this. And all of a sudden, in my mind, I see my sister standing behind me. I was like, "The hell is this?" And then in my mind, I see her walk up behind me, and she's standing right here behind me, and she puts her arms around me. I'm seeing this in my head, and I'm feeling this energy. And she just laid her head on my shoulder. And I'm just standing here going, what the hell's going on here? I was like, all right, I'm losing my marbles. What is this? And about 20 seconds later, she kind of pulled back. And I didn't say anything about this for weeks because I was confused what just happened. But it was a couple weeks later, I was actually on the phone with Linda. We were doing a Skype call, and somewhere in the middle of that, I mentioned something. I didn't tell her any details. I just said, all right, I had this weird experience. And she validated. She goes, your sister is telling me that was her in the kitchen. And I was just like, what?
Yeah.
What? And, from there, I think it was another phone call a couple weeks later where I was talking with Linda. And during that conversation, I hear this male voice in my head telling me to tell her it's this person's name. I don't know if I want to mention names. I'll just say Jim. And I ignored it. He came back again as we're talking, and I'm really like freaking out now because I'm like, what is this? He says it again. And then the third time he's like, tell her it's Jim, I passed the cancer. And finally I stopped her. I said, do you know this person, Jim, who passed the cancer? She said, well, it's my dad. I was like, what? And she's like, you're a medium. I'm like, no, I'm not. I
It's
argued with
funny.
her.
I know, because that's what I was saying the other day. It's you make me laugh because I remember when we used to do these circles and stuff, and you were still kind of like, is this really happening? And you were like, you would get information and you would be like, no. And they'd be like, yes, no, that makes sense. And you're like, no, you're shitting me. No. And it's like, okay, you're a medium. So it sounds like you finally realized that you are, in fact, I mean, I think we all, like we were discussing earlier, we all have the capability in which to, connect, but
Yeah.
it's to what extent do you do that? To me, there's something of a calling in you that wants to do
Oh,
it
yeah.
on a larger scale, that it's, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, you would do it. You do it when you're not working, it's your passion, it's what you enjoy doing. So yeah, but it's interesting for you because of your background in the military. And it's funny because my brother's name's Mike, and he reminds me, the similar kind of, but it's almost the skepticism. And I come from a scientific side of it as well, like, we're both evidential, and so it's like validate it, like prove it. It's not just like, oh, well, they're here and they say they love you. Well, of course, but
Yeah.
prove that there's life after death. But for you, I think it's interesting because I know that you with your career, and you kind of went away from it and came back. And I think, Tina and I were talking a little bit about that, and you and I as well, that even though it's like one of those things where it's really your passion and you really enjoy it, sometimes it can be draining, right? It's like, and talk a little bit about that and what that experience looks like for you. And
Oh, yeah. So once I finally accepted that, this was actually happening, I started working with it, and I started practicing, and I started a Facebook page and a group, and I started working with it, and practicing. And bravely, after only a few months, I stepped out and did my first gallery reading. So I did that out of nowhere. I usually step into things without thinking. I just say, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, do it, and then go, oh man, but anyway, but yes, once I finally decided to step out there and actually start doing this, I quickly realized that it's not the, TV mediums, it's not all, peaches and, cupcakes and everything else you want to, what they make it to look, as. I quickly learned that this is not for the faint at heart, and it's, I mean, we've all been through tough stuff in our life, but my God, this is up there with, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
It does. There's so many ebbs and flows where it's like you look forward to it, it's the greatest thing, and it could be a week later, you're like, I don't want to ever do this again.
That's it, I'm done. Like, yeah, it's so crazy. And a lot of people don't talk about that. I know you and I both know mediums that do this full time for a living, and they are like, a lot of, like, in talking to some of them, some days they're like, I'm done. I can't do more, because and I don't know about you, but from my experience, it feels like sometimes, I know, like I always wanted to, being a mother of 3, it was really important for me, like, especially if there's parents, but then there became a point and it was like, I can't, it was too close to home and I
Hmm.
couldn't, you know, there was just times where it would, I would clam up a little bit if I had a child coming through. And because I had to work through my own fears of loss with my own children, if something, it creates an exposure. And
Hmm.
so that was like, you go through all these emotions because, you're the voice of spirit. You get one opportunity in which to communicate for this child that's crossed over, and you don't want to you don't want to get it wrong. You don't,
Right.
such pressure, and it's so tender, and it's so, there's no words for it. But now it's like, before we started this session, there was a ton of spirits that were lining up that, like, I kind of called on whoever wants to come forward. And I see, and I'm naturally drawn to the little boy. And I was like, okay, like, tell me who you want to talk to. And so, and there's certain, now, like, it's like going into a party, right? You kind of like, who do you want to talk to in that room? Who are you drawn to? So it's the energy vibration. But so kind of what for you would you say is part of the reason why you sometimes ebb and flow with that, the highs and lows with the mediumship?
I thought about that and I think about that a lot. And the other day, I think it finally clicked on why, because I always wondered, it's like, why do I go through this? It's not that I don't like doing readings. It's not that I don't like connecting. I think what finally clicked with me the other day is, I finally realized no matter what I do as a medium, no matter what I say, I cannot make a person feel better. There's nothing I can do, nothing I can say to make a person feel better. I can, I can give them messages from the people that have crossed. Um, I can validate information that may be on their minds that they've been wondering about, but beyond that, there's nothing I can do or say to make that hurt go away.
Right.
The only thing
It's hard.
that's just time. And it's not, you'll never forget the person. You shouldn't forget the person. They're always going to be a part of your life. They're
Hmm.
not physically here anymore, but I think the only comfort we can provide in what we do is giving that person that we're sitting with at least a chance to consider the fact that their friends and family are somewhere else and they're going to see them again.
Right.
That's about as much as we can do for them. And sometimes that's hard because, we're not therapists. I don't know what to say a lot of the times. You
Hmm.
know, it's just, so to me, I think that's what finally clicked, that why I go through I don't want to do this anymore. It gets to you. Um, but yeah, so for me, that's probably the hardest thing about this.
Yeah, no, I definitely can relate to that. It's that, and the other thing too is interesting because the more you develop, I don't want to say develop your mediumship, that's the wrong word. The more you have an understanding of spirit and how we're not separated, we're all very connected, um, and the bigger, larger purpose behind life. Oftentimes I know I don't even need to ask because I know you experience the same thing, but sometimes a loved one, when I do a reading for someone, will come forward, and and they might just be a spirit that really wants to communicate. Like, I might wonder a question, and if they're really communicating really well with me, I'll ask them, tell me what's going on over there. Like, give me some, like, tell me the secrets of the universe. And sometimes spirits will do that for me. Like I was telling you this afternoon in my meditation, he was telling me a lot of stuff that I'm like, he put pieces together for me that I wasn't clear on. But and when you understand that, it's there's such a beauty in understanding that, but there's also, it's a little bit of a blessing and a curse, because I can I have to decide consciously, if I have a friend or something that's going through some things, or if I'm connecting with someone through mediumship reading and they're really sad because they've lost someone, I have my spirit side, my soul side, that's aware that we're all connected, and they're just still here with us. They just don't have a
Mhm.
physical body.
Right.
But then I also have my human side. And so I struggle because I know oftentimes our lessons are intended for our growth. And, we come here, and that's why I say don't hate the player at the game. It's all about the lessons. It's not about the people. Hey, I'm going to come in and play this role. You're going to learn because I'm going to cheat on you, or I'm going to do something to hurt you. And it's going to teach you humility, forgiveness, all these things. So we play roles. We wear masks in this life, quite frankly, literally and quite frankly. And I just feel like oftentimes people get too caught up in the game, so to speak, of life. They just get too serious about it. And I know it's hard, right? Because it's life. That's
Well,
hard. So
I used to be like that too, but I mean, going through what I did, when you actually have to face your mortality, and I mean, there was times where it was like, the day I found out my kidneys failed, I didn't want to do dialysis. I wanted to leave. I was more afraid of living and trying and waiting for a kidney than it was to just say goodbye.
yeah,
And my brother stepped in. I felt it 2 days later. It's like, no, man, you're going to get the opportunity that I didn't get, and I was like, well, if that isn't a freaking kick in the ass,
yeah,
but, going through that right there, the way I am right now is nothing how I was before that, because, um, I mean, there was days military, you can be mean. I mean, it was that environment. I was high strung. I was stressed all the time. It's like going through something like that. It's like I quickly learned what's important and what's not,
yeah,
So I think everybody eventually gets a wake up call to realize what's important, what's not
yeah,
important, what's worth getting upset about, and
right.
you know,
Right. And I just wanted to touch on that too, because I know growing up, I would always, I was fascinated by this. I had experiences as do most people at some point in their lives. But for me, I would always see mediums, and I just thought, oh my gosh, the gift that they're able to give people. It's like there's not many opportunities that people have to give a gift like that. And so, and a lot of people ask the question, and I see some questions on here as well, like just in general, like why me, or will I develop my medium, questions around the mediumship. And spirit always knows your intent, or what your path is, and maybe it's not the right time for you to develop. We all have the capability. Everyone is a medium. That's it.
yeah,
That's hands down. But it's to what extent do you leverage those capabilities? I know my daughter can do it if she wants to. I know my husband has the capability to connect, but he's like, I just don't want that for my life. And that's
right. And
okay.
that's the biggest question right there is
Right.
the why. I still to this day, I'm like, why am I doing this? And it's definitely, I'll say this real quick about it. There's people that are in this for the wrong reason. They want the fame, they want the fortune, they want the notoriety and all that. If you're in it for that, good luck, because it ain't gonna last.
And there's nothing, I
I
mean, I'm sorry, but sometimes it can be very unsexy. So that there is no, I mean, to be clear, that's not there. I don't think anyone's going to become a
this is
millionaire
work.
doing this job. It's,
No,
yeah,
you have to
no.
have, you have to constantly ask yourself why. Why am I
Yep,
doing this? And what keeps me coming back? I've said it. I've walked away, and it's like something always brings me back. So I wholeheartedly believe that the people that are supposed to do this will do this. Again, you still have free will to say no, but
yeah.
and it's it's
Well,
work.
and I've thought about this from many different angles, and I've sort of sat with this as well, because not everyone, maybe some people have the ability to connect. Maybe I do believe that I've taken many classes, and some people are just like that. They get it without even trying. Other people are like, but it's almost like they try too hard. And that's the worst thing you can do, is try too hard, because when you just basically check out. Some of the days that I felt the crappiest, and I'm like, I don't even care. They're the most amazing readings, because my ego, everything's put aside. I
But
don't
that
care.
comes with training. That comes with
Yeah,
practice to get to that point. And I'll use this analogy again. I use baseball as an analogy. Everybody can go out in the backyard and throw a ball around. Everybody has that capability. Some people will make it to little league. Some people will make it to the minor leagues. Some
yep,
people will make it to the major leagues. Just because I want to play professional baseball doesn't mean I have the ability to do it. I can try and take as many classes as I want, but there's I don't have the physical capabilities to do that. And it's the same with mediumship. You
Hmm.
know, people, it's just the way it is. You know, some
Yeah.
people have that ability to go to that level. Everybody receives messages, and there's that whole void in between.
Hmm.
But you know, again, if you're meant to do this and are supposed to be doing this, it's gonna at some point make its way into your life. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see
Yeah.
spirit. I didn't experience anything until I was 45. And looking back, I've always asked why, but now I know why. I
Right.
had all that stuff to go to or go through,
Yep.
all that life experience. I understand loss. You know, I understand grief. I understand that. So there's a lot I've learned throughout my life that when this all happened, it's like I have the maturity to understand things a little bit more than maybe when I was 20,
Right.
if that
Absolutely. And
makes sense.
that's the thing. People oftentimes they come to this through some sort of tragic event or some, I know, like I talked about last week with my situation and my daughter, it was like, I kind of pushed it aside, but it reignited in me because of trying to help my daughter through her stuff. And so I think the point is everyone comes to it in their own time, in their own path. And just because, you might get 10 people that can connect, but only 5 of them or 2 of them go on to do it professionally. Maybe, and one of the other things that I don't think people understand is that a lot of times, just because, so everyone has the ability to connect, but some people will take that and maybe take it into Reiki and use that energy because they can still connect with spirit, and
Yeah,
spirit will tell them what to do. And so bottom line, it's about the healing and how you deliver that to the world. And spirit will absolutely use your life experiences to be able to shape what that looks like. For me, I'm finding that I'm getting more drawn to helping children and helping, because we have at least in my world that I'm experiencing, there's a little bit of a crisis with kids deciding to opt out of life too early, and it has to stop. And so for me, I basically, whatever that looks like, I've surrendered and I told spirit, God, the universe, whatever, use me, whatever that looks like, whatever I have to do, and I'm willing to risk whatever that looks like. And I've had to defend. I mean, I know you have too. That's a thing too. There's going to be moments in time where you have to defend the work that you're doing. I've had so many, I mean, I've had my kid, some of their friends, their people that they know, your mom does what? Like what? And they try to get in arguments. And my kids are so mature that they've gotten to the point, they're like, look, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just telling you this is what she does. And whatever you perceive is your reality and mine is mine. And so, because
I've been
there's a lot of
fortunate
critics.
with that because one, I don't care I know why I'm doing this. I know who I am. I was confronted at a local news station during
All
an
right.
interview, after an interview, to my face, and I won't go into what this person said, but it was like an out of body experience because I was being attacked, and it took me a second to realize what this guy was saying, you know, and I'm sitting there watching it going, the real me would have jumped across the table and probably did something stupid. I sat back and I'm just watching his lips move, and I'm like, okay, you done? You know, and after it was over, my sister popped in and she's like, you needed that experience. You're gonna
Yep.
face this stuff. Basically, it was the message. You're gonna experience this, and you have a choice. You can just let it roll off your back, or you can be confrontational. And the latter does nothing. And I have to focus on this point. If I wasn't secure in knowing what I do, I know who I am, I know what I do is real, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't trigger me because I know who I am. I'm not a liar. You know, I know who I am.
Right.
I think the people that maybe would are insecure about it, maybe they're the ones that are going to get triggered by that and maybe let it affect them a little bit more. Maybe it's just who I am. I don't know, but I don't care what people say. As long as somebody doesn't put their hands on me, I don't give a shit. I
Right.
seriously do not.
No, and that's what I love about you, because there's something very grounding about your energy, because we're in different phases of our lives, and I'm coming into that space where I care less and less every day. I'll be 40 in like 2 weeks. So there's something about this space and time where it's like you just care a little less what people think, and it's so freeing. But too, having daughters that are teenagers and emerging
Oh yeah.
into, you know it's by me doing that, it's giving them permission to do the same in some ways. But then they've also taught me that it's like, just to be who you are. And so there's something very freeing about that. I don't feel like I have to defend it, but I also am aware, because again, being a skeptic myself, like there's times where I'm like, prove it, like
Oh
spirit will
yeah.
tell me something, and I ask them, prove it, and they'll say, this is what happened yesterday. It was a funny example yesterday I had, where it was like, wow, like that's not something that anybody would have ever known. Like I can't Google that. And I, because of now, especially with everyone putting things on social media, people think that, oh, well, they can find out anything they want about you. So I always ask spirit, tell me something that it was just between, like it was in their thoughts, they were in the car driving by themselves, singing, whatever that was. Tell me what that moment is, that nobody else was there, that you were there with them, and give them the validation they need. And that proves to me that they're always around. They may not physically be there in a body with you, but they see what's going on. So those are, I get it. I mean, I think it's healthy to be skeptical to some extent, but
Oh
it's
yeah,
not.
I tell everybody, be skeptical of mediums. I am
Yeah,
please be skeptical of mediums. I'm skeptical of myself,
yeah,
and you said it.
yeah,
It's like, if I literally, when I started this, if I wasn't getting the information from spirit that's like, I mean, just in your face, can't disprove it, I would not be doing this, because
right,
I can't. I couldn't just sit up there and just throw out the vague, their love, they love you, they're around you, they blah blah blah. No. Did your grandson, I see a male sticking some, like this happened. I was doing a Facebook Live, and the spirit that come through actually was like showing me a little a male. I saw it as a male, like being electrocuted, not like fatally, but like sticking something in a socket. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna throw this out there to you. I said, he's showing me, like, did somebody stick something in a socket? She goes, yeah, my bonehead grandson took a fork and was putting it in the electrical socket the other day, and he got zapped. How the hell would I know that?
exactly. That's a type of evidence that it's more like they see what's going on, they know, and that's just that proof. And so to me, that's the beauty, when someone can really do that. And I think regardless if you're, I don't, and that's the other thing too, being a medium, being a psychic, I don't care if you're a doctor, if you're whatever your profession is. I mean, there's good people and there's bad people, and people are fallible, humans are fallible. And I always say that, because some people are like, well, media, they may have had a bad experience. I've actually been to a psychic, because I was like, surely they don't exist, these ones that do this whole scam. I actually went to one. I was like, you know what you're doing to people? You're scamming people. And it's just, you get that everywhere. And so for me, it's like, it doesn't matter what type of profession. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it. But to me, it's all about being on the up and up, and really validating, and doing it for the right reasons. And so I do believe when you do it for the right reasons, spirit will continue to bless you in many ways. And the other thing I'll say too, because the whole thing with Kobe Bryant passing, it just hit me in a kind of different way. And I sat with that. A couple of days leading up to it, I felt off, and I just felt, and then I understood why, because of the energy of things. And it really got me to listen to certain, it just drew me to, because I'm fascinated by him, and the things that, the way that he approached life. He was the Mamba mentality, and very much deep into that. And I kind of sat with all that energy, and he talked about it as well, that it's one of those things where it's like, he was a good basketball player because he worked hard. It's like we
Yeah.
all have the ability. It's kind of, the baseball analogy. But if you're showing up and you're doing the work, and you might have a blind spot, but if you do other things to develop yourself, you're gonna do it. But you have to decide what's your why, and is it enough for you? So
Oh
to me,
yeah.
that's really
I
what it
mean,
comes
there's no
down
doubt.
to.
And it's a constant evolution. It's not like it's, I get
Right.
to a point and it's like, okay, that's it. I mean, literally every time I get to a point where I feel comfortable, something gets switched up. Either the way I get information, it just constantly evolves. And
Right.
I'm happy for that, because it makes me work for it.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Definitely. So thank you for that. Are you ready to jump in here? We've got some people that I want to.
we can
We've
answer
got. Can you?
questions too.
Can you see
I
the
guess.
super chat? The chat? We did get a couple super chats. I want to make sure to get to that as well. But can you
What's
see
a
the
super
chats
chat?
here? The super chat is the ones in blue. Can you can
Oh,
you see
okay.
them? Yeah. So we'll just go ahead and jump in and see what we're getting. I just want to just thank you for everyone who's joined. I really appreciate it. We do want to read for as many people as possible any information we're getting, but Spirit's always in control, and so we sort of let them decide, you know, who like I said, when we started, I had a bunch of people come forward, a bunch of spirits, and I just want to make sure to get those messages, and we'll see what else we can do. And I apologize in advance if we can't get to you all, but so thank you so much. So and I might be butchering this, but Casa Dix, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is asking, why did my ancestors choose me to be a medium? So it's kind of along the lines of the questions that we were asking. So I don't know if you're getting anything with that.
Well, no, to me, I mean, to me, this is just an opinion, you know. And again, I don't believe your ancestors choose you to do anything. This is something, maybe if you believe in, you know, pre-birth life planning and all that. Again, this is deep stuff. I'm not really into the too deep stuff, but I'll touch on this. I think we come into this life with certain goals and certain abilities that present in some way. So I don't believe somebody can push it something on you. I think it's something that's in you already. It's just bubbling to the surface. So I don't think anybody can choose you to be something. It's all about you and what you chose to do. So that's how I look at it as far as, you know, you being a medium. I think it's something that it's, if you're experiencing that now, I think it's just a part of who you are. And I got to touch on this because it's, my guides are popping in too, because this is a very stressful thing for some people. Some people that have these abilities, it confuses them because they feel, well, I have this, I have to work, I have to do this work, and you do not. Just because you have these experiences does not mean you have to be a professional medium or any medium. That's completely up to you, because there's a lot of people that feel guilty because they have this and they're like, I got to do something with it. No, you do not. It is free will, your choice. So if you have these abilities and you want to work with them, I would suggest either start practicing. You can take a development class. But the only way you're going to become a medium is if you practice mediumship. You have to work at it. It's not going to come easy. You know, that's probably a lot more than you wanted to know, but
Yeah, no, I think just to expand on that, I mean, definitely it's one of those things where it's like, I know for me, when I don't connect, I mean, I always go in meditation, but if I don't connect a spirit with another spirit, you know, and incarnate with a discarnate, it's like, it's almost like if I haven't done it, like it's just something it calls to my soul. It's bigger than me. I can't not do it. Like I trust me, if they gave me 3 or 5 months off of work, I'd be okay. But if I had 3 or 5 months off of doing mediumship, I wouldn't feel right in my heart. Like I would feel like
yeah,
disconnected. So I think that's to the kind of a way of knowing what that looks like for you. But the other thing I'll say
yeah,
for you is that, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering this, Casa, I'll just say Casa. I feel like for you, there's something connected. I do feel a strong grandmother energy that is connected with you immediately. That sort of just came in. Okay, so you said your great grandfather. I am getting a grandmother that's coming in. That's connected here, and I don't know if that would be kind of through the grandfather or what that is, but there's a grandmother energy that's coming forward. I usually don't go back too far in terms of ancestry, just because it's one of those things where at that point, a lot of people don't know their great and great, and so it becomes less applicable. But trust me, they're always all around in terms of being able to connect with you. But I do feel like there's a grandmother energy that would be connected to you, that would have been, I just feel like she's around you, and I feel like she helps you with maneuvering certain aspects of life. And she's also mentioning something to me about breaking the patterns of roles in life, if that makes sense. So there's a feeling of like, it's almost like having trying to take the cookie cutter and not have to fit into that. So I don't know, there's a reason why she said cookie cutter. I don't know if she was a baker or what that is, but that's not usually an analogy that I would use. But she's showing me like literally a cookie and making cookies, and like how you can kind of do it in your own way. And she's showing me you sort of breaking out of that expectation of what others put upon you. So I feel like that's really strong for you in your life. So I hope that was helpful. And I don't know if you're getting anything else, Michael. I have a few things I was getting, but if you want to jump in, I'm gonna let you.
Oh, no, I was just gonna, Tiffany asked, she says, I got scared. Is that normal? Absolutely. I mean, anything that's not like, I mean, we're physical beings, so something that we can't explain, it scares you. You know, I've gotten used to, I know boundaries is a whole nother topic, but put it this way, you know, I have boundaries with spirit. One of them was, you don't come in my room at night. You know, I don't want to see this stuff. And it goes into another, because somebody asked about seeing inside or outside. I do not see spirit outside. I don't see with my physical eyes. I don't hear with my ears. It's all internal. But there are times in my room at night where I'll wake up and I will see people walking across the foot of my bed. At first, it kind of like, you know, it shocked me a little bit. But the thing is, it's like they're there whether we realize it or not. And there's some points that I think you're able to see them. So again, they don't touch me, they don't do anything, they just there, and they don't stay long. It's just I'll get it every now and then. It's not like every night, but there'll be times where I'll wake up and there's somebody floating above my bed, and I kind of, my attitude is like, really, you know, and I'll just roll over and go back to sleep. So it's something I just gotten used to. But yes, it's normal to be frightened by things you can't explain.
Right.
Um,
But the other thing I'll say too with that, and that's why, you know, when I first started doing this, people were like, well, be careful what you're bringing. And it kind of offended, because I'm like, you don't think I like know what I'm doing, but I get it now, because there's some people that really deeply want to connect with spirit, and they don't, but they do it with it all goes back to intention. When you have a fear base, like, oh, I want to connect, and then there's a fear that arises from you, because when you connect with spirit, it's the most vulnerable you will ever be, because you literally expose yourself. They know everything. They know your prejudices. They know everything, and they can bring those up. It's kind of like the life review while you're still in human form, because there's times they call me out on my stuff. They give me certain chills when I'm being too human and acting badly. They have their way of nudging me, especially when I go driving or I'm out in public, and it's like, oh, okay, sorry, I'm supposed to be like nice human. I can't say or think things like that. So they don't give up on you. They work with you, but it is all about the intentions. So that's really important as well. So,
you know, and I gotta say too, ever since I learned I was a medium, I have not changed my lifestyle. I am still the same person. You know, I have foul language. I drink beer. I eat whatever the hell I want. You know, it's like, no, this is a part of who we are.
right.
And this is my personal opinion on this. It's like they know their boundaries. And literally for me, unless I'm intentionally paying attention, I don't realize they're there.
Right.
It's not part of my like every waking moment. You know, I don't know. It's just the way I am. It's a way I've always looked at it. I'm like, this is me. You know, you chose me for some stupid reason. So, you know, here
Forget
I
about
am.
it. That's awesome. Yeah, that's why I love your energy and the way you are, because you're like, for me, I don't know if it was already in me or what that was, but for me, there was certain like food sensitive. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't eat anything anymore. So, but that's just me. But yeah, everyone's a little
No, if I
different.
had to stop drinking beer or stop eating steak, I'd be like, you can take this mediumship back
I
because I'm
know,
sorry.
that's it. I quit it. Yeah,
I'm in the physical right now. I'm enjoying myself.
deal with it.
Um,
Yeah, that's funny. Oh my gosh.
Let me answer this real quick. Black Barbie
Yeah.
Goddess asks, how can you know if you're a medium and if you have
Yes.
mediumship abilities? I think you're gonna know if there's something going on. And again, the only way to really understand it and know is to find, you know, a way to practice it. And it could be sitting down with a very good friend, just people you're very comfortable with. If you're around a good friend, and this is how it happens sometimes, you know, I'm like, you just start getting this, all right, I'm getting this information. I don't know why, but do you understand this? It's a brave step to take. I know that, but it's finding people you trust to just start playing around with this and see, because the validation, that's the only way you're going to learn to know what you do. Everybody's different. Everybody's abilities are different. So take a class. There's plenty online. I mean, if you go to either one of our Facebook pages, I know I post. I have many friends that teach. I don't teach right now, even though I've been asked. And I will only refer people to people I know that are genuinely interested and care about a person's development, not about just making some money. So
Yeah.
that's the best advice I can give for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of good entry level kind of teachers that can, because it's difficult when you get into a class where, I think my first class, it was probably like some of the people are like way beyond me. And it was like, you got, and then, you shift over time. It is good to get in a class and it's practice. It's dedication and exploring the way you're learning a new language. That's all it is. It's basically like sitting in, Spanish class or something and learning a new language. That's what you're doing. But it's using senses. It's something, and it's funny because when you really deepen your connection with spirit, I find, and I know when I channel it's hard for me to use words like human words because it's a feeling and an energy.
I do too, but I have a limited vocabulary, so I'm screwed right then and there. I'm always like, you know what, man, I don't use big words. I don't know.
No, but it's
Let
not
me draw
even
a
big
picture
words.
here.
No, sometimes I'm like, what is that thing? The thing, and I'm like, okay. Like last week, it was like and then someone's like circus. I'm like, yes, but because I'm so into the vibration and the energy of what they're giving me, I sometimes forget or don't know how to correlate the human language to that, if that makes sense, because we all
there's
energy.
feelings that you can't put into words.
Yeah, energy all has a corresponding language, and that's what I think that's why I'm fascinated with mediums, just the whole process.
Oh, I am too. I love watching other people work because everybody's different, and I'm the most basic form of a medium you probably will ever meet, because I don't know the terms. I don't get too deep in the weeds with there's so much out there to me, literally, because I see one of the questions is, I think it was Sunny that asked, where is it? She asked, what's the difference between being a medium, or what's the difference between mediumship and channeling? There is none. Literally, it's these terms. For me, the way I'm sitting here talking to Heather, that's my intention right now. I'm paying attention to Heather. I'm listening to what she's saying. I'm responding. Literally, I know spirits around me. And if I was to sit and start channeling, all I got to do is start paying attention. For me, I've learned that when I put my awareness back here, for some reason, that's where it is. That's where spirit is. And it's just like paying attention to a child. All right. I can ignore anybody. My wife will tell you that I have selective hearing. But all I got to do is like, okay, my intention now is just start listening, and I'll just start communicating with spirit. So to me, channeling, mediumship, those are all just terms. It's literally me sitting down and just going, okay, who's here? And whoever gets my attention first, that's who I start talking with or communicating with. So again, that's a whole different language. That's what it is. It's learning a different language. But mediumship, communicating, channeling, it's all terms that means the same thing. We are communicating with spirit.
I think mediumship is just more like, you think of like Abraham Hicks. That's more of like the channeling, because it's all just connecting. It's really just the
and there's
same
different
thing.
levels.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. So, and I don't, so let me see here. I do want to, I was getting a couple spirits, and I wanted to go and see if there was anyone here. If it's not for here, there might be someone, a passerby later, that gets it. But I just want to put it out there. Again, I trust spirit. So if nobody knows who these individuals are, that's totally fine. But they usually know who's going to show up at any given time. And so they'll say, hey, they may not be here now, but they're coming, and I need to let them know I'm here. So I'll just go through my list really quickly. And then I don't know, Michael, if you have any that you want to just kind of jump in. And
nobody's like chirping in my ear yet, but
okay, well, maybe they will.
I'm so involved with the conversation, then that's how I am. If I'm involved in a conversation, it's like I'm I'm not picking up anybody, but if I try,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's probably good. That's where I tend to, yeah, be. I guess that's the women multitask. I don't know.
I'm an air traffic controller. I know multitasking.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're like, I know, yeah, the language you use for that too. So, that's awesome. All right, perfect. So, hi, Sunny. Hi, in my Ascension and Light. Hi, thank you so much for I saw you did a super chat. Thank you so much for that. And I'll see who we've got here, and then we'll go from there. So, I do have, there was an older female, is so cute. She, I saw a bunch of spirits that were lining up here. I didn't expect them to all kind of show themselves, but it literally was like I came into a party and they're all here. There's a lady that's coming forward. She's a sweet lady, and she just like kind of like held up her hand, like, can you just make sure my daughter, I want to say hi to her. She says, my daughter's going to be here. I want to say hi. And so it was really important for her. She's so cute. She's kind of like, she reminds me of that lady on the 70s show. I don't know what that, she's like that. She's, I don't know her name. I don't know any of that, but
Mrs.
she
Foreman.
What's that?
Mrs. Foreman.
Oh, okay. There might be a connection
The
there. I
mom.
don't know. Yeah, she might be that. She's presenting herself like that, but she just wants to say, she just wanted to say hi. So she just said, let me know, or let her know that I'm here. So I wanted to give that as well. And then they're actually she's saying there might have been something significant to the month of April connected to you as well. So she's bringing up the month of April, or yeah. And then I do also, there's a young man that was coming forward. And I feel like there may be connection to his mom. It's a younger male, but I feel like there would have been an overdose as well connected to him. So again, it's just kind of, I just really quickly kind of asked them a little bit of their information, and that's what I was getting. So if anyone's lost it's a young male that would have passed of a overdose. So he's bringing that up as well. Let's see here. And then, let me see if that makes sense. Okay. Okay, interesting. I wonder if that is for you. Okay. Let's see. All right. And then there was a little boy that was coming forward as well. Like he was kind of in the back, and he's coming forward. He's there with another older female, but he's indicating that you would know his mom. So I feel like if this would be your nephew. So he's making me feel like his aunt would be here, and that she would be, again, if you're not in the chat here now, you might be stopping by later. But he's indicating that his aunt would be coming in, and that to let his mom know that he loves her. And so I know it's a bit generic, but that's, this little boy is just coming forward. He's just a sweet little boy. Again, every time I see little, especially boys, because my son, I'm just really drawn to him. So he just wants to let me just see here what else he's saying. And I feel like there would be something, I feel like his mom might be going through some difficulties. There's some transition. I don't know if it's in a relationship or what this is, but he's bringing that up as well. And so he's just giving her a lot of love, because I feel like things have been heavy for her. So I just want to give that. And then one other weird random thing, right at the beginning of this, there's, you know, that song Electric Love. That's not my genre, like it's not really my thing, but I kept hearing that song Electric Love. It was playing over and over and over again. So I don't know if anyone has a connection to that song, but there's definitely something that Electric Love. So whenever they bring me songs out of the blue like that, it's definitely for someone. I just never know, like it's kind of their way of like giving me a short, I'm here, let them know. So all right, so that's what I've got. Do you have anything else, Michael, or any other? I can look at these here as well and see what.
I don't know if I'm picking up on Cassidy. I know she's put a question up here, and there's a big difference between psychics. Like I would need more information than what role does David C play in. I would have to know who that person is, maybe, but even then, it's not a guarantee. But with Cassidy, I don't know if this is your grandmother I'm feeling, but did you not get a chance to say goodbye to her before she passed? Because I'm feeling this really strong around you that you didn't get to say goodbye. So can you just validate if that happened between you and your grandmother?
Yeah, I think it's on a little bit of a delay, so it'll come through. But she did say earlier, because I was getting her grandmother as well. Her grandmother's definitely around. I believe she was saying her grandmother just passed recently, so I don't know if she
And
would.
I seen that in the comments, but as I read it, I just got this feeling like you didn't get to say goodbye.
Oh, she
No,
says
you
she
didn't.
did not.
Okay. Okay. So let me just connect with your grandmother here real quick. And I just want to get you a message from her. Um, for one, she didn't want people to see her in that moment. So I don't know if she was on life support or some kind of artificial support to keep her alive, whether it was an actual machine. But I'm feeling that somebody had to make the decision to either stop treatment. So there was that involved. But as far as you're concerned with her, she's saying, don't feel bad about that. I didn't want you to see me like that. Okay. She did not want you to see her like that. And what she's doing is showing me with my grandmother, when my grandmother was in the hospital in her last moments, I was flying home to see, and she passed while I was on my way. And when I got there and I found out, it was actually a sense of relief for me, and I felt it because I didn't want to remember her like that. I didn't want to remember her laying in the bed watching her pass. So I feel that's what your grandmother is actually wants to say to you is she didn't want you to see her like that. Remember how she was. So I hope that helps a little bit, but that's what I'm feeling from her. Um, she wants me to talk about the candies. I don't know if she used to have a bowl full of candies. That's what she's showing me. Um, there's something with the candies. I don't know if she gave you candies or if there was a bowl that you used to have or it was something like she would do often. She's like, talk about the candies. And what she's doing with that is she just wants you to remember the good times and the happy moments. Actually, I'll fall over if that actually makes sense because again, it was like she's using my point of reference, and that's what my grandmother used to do too. She used to always have candies around. We used to find them. But don't feel guilty about that, Cassie. Just she doesn't want you to carry that with you, okay? And I'll stop at that so we can maybe get some more.
Okay. And I do want to go back to, I know my ascension in light. Hi, thanks for joining again. So that you were mentioning possible the younger male overdose. So I'm gonna ask him to step forward. He does show me him being kind of a casual guy. He's kind of coming forward with his jeans and his t-shirt, just kind of very casual energy. And I'm just asking him specifically if he has a message. He is making me feel like there's I don't know if this would be directly connected to you. I feel like you might know someone that's connected to him. There's a feeling of like, it's almost like not a direct connection with you. Do you understand that? Like it would be, okay. Cause he's making me feel like, and this would have been a while ago too. I feel like, oh my, is his name Mike? Okay. Yeah, he's coming close to me now because I get, when they come, the closer they come, they some people think they have anxiety, but it's really just, yeah, okay. Because he's bringing me back in time. So this was some time ago, and I feel like there would have been a connection to him. So he's making me feel like, I don't know if you like always treated him nicely, or there's something about like, there's a feeling of wanting to thank you. And so this feeling of just kind of thanking you for, okay, he's making me feel like in his life, sometimes people would have treated like, it's almost like was dismissive of him. And it's like, didn't kind of give him the time of day in some ways, that they kind of just bypassed his energy. And he's making me feel like in some ways you tried with him, you tried to, have that connection with him. I know there may have been some times where it feels like the energy would have been off. But because you were, okay, he's telling me you knew who he was and you saw who he was, but you didn't ever make him feel bad about himself. And so he wants to thank you for that, because it's, you saw a light in him that he didn't even see in himself. And so he's just wanting to thank you for that. And it's weird because he's kind of going up, it's not weird, but it's almost like in some ways I feel a deeper connection to you than I do to his own mom. And it's like, he's like, man, if I could have had you growing up as my mom, oh, wow. That's kind of emotional. He's making me feel like his life would have been a little different. And I hate to say that. I know that sounds bad. And I pray to God that it doesn't make it back to his, but there's something about, I know that sounds so, I don't mean that to be, see, this goes back to the whole feeling. I don't want, it's nothing against his mom, but there's something about you that saw in his eyes, you saw something different. And so he just wants to thank you for that, and just in all sincerity, and just and give you a lot of love around that. And so, and he's just giving roses to, your daughter as well. Yeah. Okay. I'm just asking if there's any final, and I just feel like that's it. He's just giving a lot of love. And would you understand, did your daughter, is there someone, I'm assuming it's been 4 years that there's someone, but it feels like, I don't know if it was recently or what, but it feels like there's a man that's in her life, or might be coming into her life soon. And he's kind of given a thumbs up on that, that's gonna be good. So he's just acknowledging that as well. Guilt. Okay, my daughter feels guilt. Yeah. No, he just wants to thank you guys. And he's also acknowledging the dog too. There's some, I don't know if you had a dog that he would come and visit and he would see the dog, but he just loved being at your house. Like, the moment he came in, he just felt different. So he's just wanting to acknowledge that as well. So thank you for that. I hope that was helpful. But just thank you for, kind of going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, where, a lot of people are suffering in life in some ways, and we don't know what they carry behind the scenes, and just treating people like they're human, or they have that. That's really what his message is. And he just really wants to thank you for seeing the light in him. And, spirit only sees our light. So okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to deliver that message. Perfect. Did you have anything else, Michael? I'm just seeing if there's anyone else. Hi, Sue. Hi, Sunny.
Sunny was asking if she has, or if there's anything from her father, and I'm sitting here trying to connect, and all right, Sunny, I don't know, because I do have a male standing here. Did your dad chew tobacco? I don't know. This is just what I'm seeing. I'm like, usually they'll step in with how they passed and all that, but right away he just keeps, this male who's standing next to me just shows me the chewing tobacco. He's also I'm feeling that he passed from this is a heart-related illness. I'm feeling heart attack.
It looks like maybe that's Jolene.
Jolene?
I was, yeah.
Let me just see what else he's got here. Because he's poking fun now. He's like, they wanted me to stop. They wanted me to stop. I couldn't stop. This is what the chewing tobacco. So he hit it. That's what he's showing me. He hit it. But did he pass from a heart attack? And I'm seeing 55. Was he 55 when he passed? I usually get a feeling of like around the age that he passed, so I'm seeing 55. And he's very impatient with me because he just wants me to get on with messages. He's making me feel that you didn't have this conversation, but he wants you to know that you can go on with your life. You have his blessing. He's kind of joking about it too for some reason. So So I don't, if it's not for you, I'm just connecting with this man. um,
So Chelsea, that might be her dad died of a heart attack, 59. I don't know.
he's not giving me much besides the chewing tobacco, the hiding it, and he wants somebody just to be able to move on with their life. So, and I don't like to make it fit, so I'm not gonna, I just go by what I'm being shown right now. So it might not even be for somebody who's here, but there's this male, and that's what he just stepped in with. Um, and I'm just listening because he isn't coming through very strong right now. So I'm gonna kind of just thank him for stopping, coming in, but he's not really giving me much.
Okay, I feel like I have do you have any more, Michael? Or
No,
I've got a couple,
no.
okay. Okay, while you were connecting, I did feel a couple energies coming forward. And so, and Sunny, for you, I don't know would there be a reason why your dad would be, it's kind of like he's draping a flag across his back, like there's some pride in his country. And so he's showing me the flag, and I know I've read for you before, but I can't recall exactly where he's from. But he's coming forward with this energy, or at least I'm getting this man that's coming forward. It's kind of like he's just got the flag draped, and this feeling of, but I feel like I would go back to when I'm younger, and there's a feeling of like connecting with him when he's younger. And he's also, it feels like there's a sport that would have been, he would have had Bulgaria. Okay. I don't know what the flag is for Bulgaria, but there's something about the, he's showing me this flag, and it's like the pride of the country, that there's a lot of pride in his country and where he's come from. But there's also a sport or something. I don't know if this is like football or what, how do you say that? But there's something about a sport too that he's acknowledging, that, and I want to go back when I'm younger. So I understand that he died when he was older, but soccer. Okay. Yes. So football, I guess that would be soccer. So he's bringing that up as well. And I just feel like he's definitely taking me back to when he was younger. And I just am feeling like I feel like he's playing soccer. He's having fun. He's doing things. And it's funny because he's getting really rough with it. Like he's just having fun and more of a carefree life. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So yeah, he's very proud of his like soccer skills, the way he messes with the ball. So for whatever reason, I just feel like he's giving that as well. And he's just kind of giving you like a pat on the head as to acknowledge you and to give you love. And and I know that you have a daughter as well. Did your daughter just recently, is there something with school where there was a talk about like going on like homecoming or like a dance or something, where she was thinking about doing something like this, or there may have been a situation where going on a date with a male? I don't know what that is, but he's making me feel like there would be something around that as well, and just showing he's around and he sees everything that's going on. He was a musician. Okay. Yeah, he's not bringing that energy to me right now, but it's definitely, he's bringing up this, he keeps showing me this prom. Yeah, he's just making me feel like he sees that, and there was like, he's kind of showing me the moment there or something. It's almost like her getting dressed or going off to prom and having this connection. And so he's just around, he sees what's going on. Now, I feel like I might be moving on. I don't know if this is for you. Oh, no date yet. Okay. I do feel like she will have a date. I do feel like there's someone there with her. So just know that, because he's making me, if she's worried about it, I feel like that's his way of saying she'll be fine. So, because he wanted to make it clear there was another, she had a date. So But I also want to talk about, now, nobody has to acknowledge this, but I do feel like there's something around, I'm getting this very clearly. I don't know if there's somebody that would be, there's something with antidepressants. And so I'm getting that as well. I don't know, I don't think, Sunny, that's connected with you. I was kind of getting this on a separate, but I do want to acknowledge this. Okay, yeah. So he's definitely around Sunny and he sees what's going on. That's his way of like, hey, I see it. I'm here. I definitely know. And it's funny because sometimes, you know, we take on the emotional burden of that, but they're like, we're still here. You know, it's, they put it in that perspective. It's like, we actually can see more now that we're over there, because I had that distance before. So, but there is, I want to step, I feel like I want to acknowledge that there's someone, it's literally, I feel like there would have been someone that would have crossed over and they would have been on antidepressants. And I feel like there would have been, and I wasn't sure if it was someone here, if they were over there, but I'm acknowledging there was some antidepressants involved in the feeling of kind of the imbalance around them. And they weren't always in their best energy and their best space. And I feel like it would have caused an imbalance within their head. And so I feel like there's a male attached to this, and it's an older male as well. And I feel like he had a lot of burden and in his life. And let me see. Okay, antidepressants for 6:15. Okay, been off for 2 years, not better than perfect. Okay, there's a reason why this man's stepping forward to talk about this, the antidepressants, because he's making me feel like the roller coaster. And for him, he's acknowledging that in many times it made it worse for him. So. And so I just want to acknowledge that for whatever reason, he's stepping forward just to communicate that. Sometimes spirit may not have a connection directly to someone here, but for whatever reason, this man wants to deliver this message about how the antidepressants sort of made him worse. It's kind of interesting here, but for whatever reason, he's bringing that up. And let me see here. Yeah, and he's also acknowledging, I see him there, he's with his a grandmother and grandfather, but he was really close to his grandmother. So he's acknowledging that he had a closeness with his grandmother. So, and he would have been into cars as well. So again, I don't know if this connects with anyone, but this is what he's coming forward with the strongest energy with me as well. And I do feel like there would have been a younger kid involved as well. He's acknowledging, I feel like it would have been more of a masculine, a young boy. So, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'm glad that, Cassidy, that it sounds like, oh, I'm just getting chills right now. Just acknowledgement that you're on that. That's good that you've sort of moved away from that, because it's the feeling of the numbing of the energy. And he's making me feel like it wasn't a good thing for him, and it didn't really work for him. So, okay. All right. I don't know, Michael, if you're getting anything else. Yeah,
I'm not.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to keep up sometimes.
I know.
On.
There's a lot of energies that come in. It's kind of one of those where it's like again, you go to a party and it's like, who do I connect with here? I'm just asking if there's anyone else here that would like to communicate and just see. I usually like to give spirit the floor first. They usually know where they need to go. I do feel, I'm sorry, I just have one other, I do feel like it feels like a grandfather energy, and I feel an Italian connection, or that kind of East Coast Italian energy that's coming forward. And he's showing me a watch. There would have been a significant, I don't know if he wore a watch very often or what this is, but he's making me feel like he would have had a watch. I also feel like there would have been a connection with, like back in the day where they would do like poker games and stuff underground. This guy's kind of he seems like a little bit of a hustler at some point in his life. So it's kind of that type of energy. He is a little heavier set. He's got a little bit of a gut here, but he's just kind of coming forward. And I'm just asking him where he wants his message to land, or what he wants to say here. I do feel like I feel like for one of you, you might be connected to like his nephew or there's a male that you would be connected to. And that would be the connection with him as well. So he's bringing this up. It's like a feeling of like, if let me say it this way, this would be like your father's father, or like someone to the side, like your cousin's father. There's this kind of connection over to the side here. And so, okay, my ex's grandfather. Okay, that feels more right for me, because I feel like it's more of over, like to the side and over. And so he's acknowledging that as well. And would you understand, did he pass in when it was winter? For some reason, sometimes they'll give me the sickness, sometimes they'll give me the season. I don't know why he's bringing up the season, but he's acknowledging the winter season. So it feels like it would have been winter time when he crossed over. I don't know if you know that, but he's bringing that up as well. But it's funny because the reason why he's coming forward, it's like it's almost like he's laughing, and he wants to let whoever this son of his, this grandson or whoever, it's almost like a validation of, hey, I'm around, because it's almost like this person's questioning whether or not this can actually happen, but he's kind of laughing about it, like, yeah, I'm here, like I can, it's like, tell him I came through, and like he won't believe it or something. And so he's bringing that up as well. And yeah, so that's what he's giving me. Is the light flashing too? It's like flickering. It's like I feel like he's messing with me here. Okay, yeah. There's definitely the coins. He's showing me the coins, the connection with the coins. So, okay. Both of your birthdays in January. Okay, so that would make sense because he's bringing up the significance with the winter time. So he's bringing that up as well. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just seeing if he has, I feel like he just wanted to do a drive-by. He just wanted to say hi, to kind of prove that he's around and he sees what's going on. And did at one point your ex give you something for Christmas, a piece of jewelry, like a necklace or something? He's acknowledging there would have been something connected with you guys at Christmas time, like a significance where he would have given you a piece of jewelry or something, or solidified certain things in certain ways. I mean, I know it's your ex, but he's bringing that up as well. So that's what I'm getting. I know it's going to take a moment to connect that, but that's what I'm getting. So let me just see. Yep, I still love him with all my heart. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad that, okay, that's perfect, because he's kind of laughing about this. Okay, yes, heart opal necklace. That's perfect. Okay, so I just got chills. That's just his way of like, he definitely, I'm so glad, because I was like, my logic was telling me, well, if they're exes, they're probably not talking. He goes, no, he goes, she'll make sure that he knows that. And so he's kind of laughing, he goes, tell him I said hi. So he's a funny guy. I could hang out with him for a while, but he's so casual when he came in. So anyway, so he's just he just wants to pass that message through. So it looks like you're going to be the medium for him. So that's awesome. So thank you for that. All right. Anything else, or let me just see if there's any other questions that we didn't get to, and I apologize if I didn't answer them. Let me see here. I just want to make sure. Oh, that's so sweet. He definitely has a lot of love for you as well, and it's this feeling of you're a sweet girl, and he's just making me feel like, whatever happened there? Why didn't that? Yeah. So he definitely has a lot of love for you as well. And I feel like he's busting his chops. I swear, if he was here right now, it would be really bad, because he just wants to keep going. So, all right, let's see here. Let me just make sure we've got, so thank you. Hi, The Lovely Life. Thank you for coming. Tiffany, hi. Let's see, what else? Lady J. Hi, Erin. Lady J, let me just see here if there's anything for you that I'm getting. Let me just see here. Okay. Just really quickly for you, Lady J, I do feel like there's a little bit of a transition or something happening for you. And I feel like I want to go off to the side, meaning whenever they show me a side, it's sort of, there's like a lateral change that you're making. It's not like a mountain that you're climbing, so to speak, but it's more of a change that you're looking to make in your life. And I feel like there might be something involving relationships with you as well, where it's like you're sort of making some changes and changing the dynamics of what that looks like for you. So that's what I'm getting for you there. Yeah, and let's see, is there anything else? Okay. Hi, Tammy, thank you. Jolene, did we, and I don't know if we were able to give Jolene the message or not. I think we were, I'm not sure if from her husband. Are you getting anything there?
No,
Okay.
and I had a session before this, so
Okay, no
I'm
worries. I
treading
know
on.
we're
on
going,
tubes.
yeah, we're definitely, okay. So thank you guys all for joining so much. I so much appreciate, okay, with some relationships, perfect. Okay, so Spirit's just acknowledging those transitions that you're going through, but it's all good. It doesn't feel bad. It's just, it's needed shifts, I'll say. So, well, thank you, Michael. It's been amazing having you on.
Oh, yeah.
I would have been probably, I mean, Tina was sick. So again, sending her all love and energy. I would have been here talking to myself. We had already planned to have you on, which was fantastic, but I'm so glad that worked out to have you on. And it's always so amazing talking to you and connecting with you.
Oh, my pleasure. Happy to be here anytime.
Yeah,
anytime.
I'm sorry we had to keep it a bit PG for
I can do that.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I know it's like we'll have an offline and we'll just, like shoot the shit and just go off. And so anyway, so all right. Well, thank you guys again so much for joining. Really appreciate you. And again, we're planning on doing it again next Thursday. And next Thursday is going to be we're going to be taking a little bit of time off in March, but we are on next Thursday. And so I'm definitely going to have Michael back as long as he'll come back and play
definitely.
with us.
Definitely. I'll
That's
be more
awesome.
ready for readings the next time.
Yeah, no, totally. And just make sure that you guys hit the bell so that you get notified when we go on. So we'll just make sure, and we'll just kind of keep doing the same format. We're playing with it a little bit. Just seeing what works here. Again, it's all the intent of just kind of delivering messages from Spirit, but also helping you all see that you have the ability to connect as well. And so trusting the guidance that you're getting from your loved ones on the other side, and just know that they're literally just behind the curtain and they're seeing what's going on. So that's awesome. Yeah. So, all right, perfect. Well, then I guess we'll close it out here. And yeah. So
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night. Okay.